Hi, my name is Ryan Thomson and my brother Keith is doing the filming of this video for me, so that's much appreciated. And I'm introducing this vehicle, which is a Lohner Dodge. It's a Dodge weapons carrier, WC-51, with a build date of January 1945, which obviously didn't see too much service, if any, in the Second World War, but did end up in Europe, and subsequently was used by the US forces in the occupation of Austria. And prior to Austria's independence in 1955, it was rebuilt, re-engined, and then through the military assistance program of the US given to what's now a neutral Austria. And Austria obviously have to cope with very cold weather and so on, so that after a few years in its service they decided to convert a number of these standard WC-51s and 52s into a radio vans with a metal cab that this has behind it. The company that did that was a Lohner, L-O-H-N-E-R work, and the vehicles have since become known as Lohner Dodges, and this is what we have here. What I propose to do today is just give you a quick tour around the vehicle, showing you its features, and just put it down on record. Excuse me for the cockies, we've got a whole range of them flying overhead at the moment. I acquired the vehicle in 2014, I think it was 13, as a wreck. A group of friends who are all members of the Veteran Car Association of WA, the military section, worked over a period of 3 years to restore that wreck to what you see here today. It was certainly a team effort, and I can't take any credit for that other than doing all the research on what one of these vehicles actually consisted of and looked like. I had great assistance from a friend in Austria who owned one of these and was very generous in sharing the information, hundreds of photos, and enabled me to restore it to this point. Okay, so I'll just give you a walk around the vehicle, starting over here. Start at the front, it's probably a good place to start. Standard WC-51 front. Restored radiator, record radiator, fully licensed for Western Australia, current license. A NATO nightlight, headlight there. Standard convoy lights from the American WC, standard guards. Moving across here, I'll just get out of the camera's way. Something different from the Austrians was these brackets for a side light and indicator. Different mirror configuration. The original WCs had a single pole out here, and those who've got them will know about them. They vibrate very much and slip. The Austrians locked it back into the point there. Right. Okay, so it's stock standard WC windscreen with a pillar that's been welded on to support the roof and the cab, driver's cab. A half-height door, locking handle. The spare tyre pillar has been removed from these, and the spare tyre is located behind. So the door has this canvas window which was made up for the restoration, and that just lifts out, and good weather driving mode is like so. Here I've mounted a handle to assist with getting up. If you see the running board, it's fairly high. Also set a retractable Land Rover step, so that you can just get up into the vehicle very easily like that. Something to do with age, I think I needed that. And there's a roof rack up here. It's a lightweight roof rack, it's not meant for heavy equipment. And there's two tubes there for the poles for the annex that I've got fitting around the vehicle there. Moving back, this here is a cable access point for power and radio. This is a radio van obviously, and so need for external generators and so on. This is a blackout screen, 2 locking points at the top, locks closed up there, locks open down here, and that just comes up like this, goes up and then locks up in that position there. I'll leave that one open. In this door here, just using Land Rover standard locker keys, because the lock in this was irreplaceable. This is an existing locker from a WC, which is normally accessible from the inside. The Austrians cut out the side and put in a door like that. As I say, the lock was gone by the time I got the vehicle, and I've used internal Land Rover door lock, which has the square key to it, which works well. Okay, moving back, got a fuel cap lockable, got a key to unlock that, open it, and it's got a jerry can filler there with a sieve in the back, filter to keep the nasties out. Another feature that I'd like to point out to you is that at this point here is the joining point for the steel canopy to an existing WC body, so it's basically been welded there, and there are pillars inside which basically equate to the hoot locations for the canvas WC. And we'll just move around the corner now and have a look, see at what else is there. Yeah, the rear of the vehicle, you can see the join for the top canopy against the existing WC body. This device here, whilst we've got American convoy lights on the front, this is actually a wartime Wehrmacht night light that's used for normal driving mode and for distance recognition over night time, and that was stock standard on these vehicles. These are basically for Austrian road rules, and they're an agricultural globe, and I got that from Austria. Got the main rear door here. It's got a blackout screen which comes off, and there's the window. I've got 2 lights for the registration. There's a stopper there for opening the door, and a folding rear step, and I'll just show you how that works. It folds in a number of ways, and we've got a couple of hooks that hold that together, and that's how that all works. And I'll take it down again because we need to go inside and have a look see in a second. Got that. Rear tyre is built on a quite strange looking custom cradle there. Moving up, we've got this pipe on the roof. That's to support a little gantry, as I've got a chain block to help move this wheel. These tyres are incredibly heavy. There's a central locking device in there, and that's chained and locked. Basically unscrew it, attach the gantry to there, and chain block and tackle it over the side. I forgot to mention for the steps, there's a light under here for nighttime access, so if you're breaking your neck, and there's a power socket just there. A inspection light up here, and a reversing camera that I put in to help with parking the beast. And we'll go inside, or just open the door and we'll get the camera realigned. Okay, this has the inside of the radio van. It's been set up, as you can see, for camping, but these are very easily removed bunks, 2 bunks, just held on with a couple of bolts, and the existing structure, which is the bed of a WC51, remains unchanged. There's also a little locker here that I built for valuables, secure valuables. The radio table used to sit here, and I've got the furniture that was taken out of here, so that that's available. An interesting feature throughout is a big earthing flat cable that runs completely around this unit and runs the full length of the car on one of the chassis. Where are we? We've got 4 switches over there that control the various things. I'll just move over here and use the switches. We've got a fan that's a two-way fan, in and out, and it's got a variable speed selector on there. We've got these reading lights, which obviously were not on the vehicle originally, but actually they're very good map lights, so if anyone wanted to go back to a radio van configuration, they exist. These are just these curtains I've just got as clip-on again for camping use. That's the standard. We've got a sliding window there and a leather locking tab, and I've just put a velcroed a fly wire on the top so that keeps the bugs out. There's a central light up here. Find the right switch for that. All of these new electrical appliances are Nava appliances. Got double power point here for phone charging, double power point for any external work can go out through the cable door there. There's another cable door on this side, and I'll open that from the outside, and I've got a double power point up there, so there's plenty of power. Down here we've got a fully restored floor using very thick Jarrah floorboards, and as I say again, these structures are really just held in with a couple of bolts, and yeah, so I think that's basically it for here. Okay, so coming around this side of the vehicle, stock standard WC, you can see to that level there. Another blackout screen for this side. That's the sliding window there. This is the cable access point, and opens through into the vehicle and canvas sides to keep the weather out. And there. This here is the battery locker, again using the trusty locker key from a Land Rover, Parenti. This just goes into this box and open it out into the battery. The battery system is a dual battery. There's a charge battery and a house battery. It has this set of rails that fold down. You can pull the batteries out like that. Charge battery and house battery. There's a set of fuses inside here and a 4-way battery isolation switch on, off, all on, all off, left and right there. And so that just like that goes there. Right, something I forgot to mention, in the back of the cab there is an Anderson plug in the rear of the vehicle to run a battery, and it's got its own heavy-duty circuit breaker there, so that's available for camping purposes. Moving on, I'll just step across the camera. We've got the standard running board. Top of the battery locker is a step, another step to get up to the what is it, luggage rack. So I'll just close this. There's another, oops, you got it?
Mm-hmm.
There's another fold down step there just to help the aged get up. Handle up, handle up, handle up. Ouch, that roof's hot. Okay, well Keith's climbed up and is now taking some photos of the roof. So we're starting on the tube that's been attached to the roof at the back for the gantry for the spare tyre. That's not standard but needed for an old fellow. We're looking now, I think, at the aerial tie downs on the roof here, one here and one over there, and two over that side, and then we're coming across these plates. Two of these plates are actually where the antenna were located for the radio. You can see the dome there, that's for the exhaust / inlet fan, and I've got a filter in that to prevent any nasties and so on coming through, which is removable and replaceable. And you can now see the two tubes from the top for the annex poles, and as a stress, it's a lightweight carrying pan, really for camouflage, netting, canvas and so on. Okay, we haven't looked inside the driver's cab at the moment, so we'll just start on the passenger side. Again, the window. In the door there is a metal map case, Austrian in origin. Looking here, there's the saddle for the locker key in there. Fire extinguisher. On the side of you'll see it in another shot, on the side inside we've got the original Austrian fire extinguisher, and I'll let Keith manipulate the camera just to give you an inside view of that. Okay, this is the original Austrian fire extinguisher given to me by my friend in Austria. Just above that we've got a standard map drawer, except we've got some modern conveniences of coffee holders in there. The glove box, some little first aid supplies in there, and the data plates are all new repro ones, but I have the original ones of these. They're very far gone because of the weathering, but they come with that. Then just moving across, we've got standard gauges. Again, I've got repro gauges, temperature, fuel, speedo, oil pressure and amperage. This was a 12-volt vehicle fitted for radio, and it's obviously why they chose it for the radio cab use in conversion. This is the screen for the camera, the reversing camera, which I haven't got the engine on, so it won't go at the moment. Standard knobs and dials. There is a power socket here, and this is the indicator switch there, a later model turning light switch, a gear positioning plate from the Austrians, and then some Austrian electrical work down there, and a couple more of the repro data plates there. Okay, the main controls of the vehicle, gear stick, as anyone who's driven one of these before knows, there's the 4 gears in an H pattern, and reverse is over to the right and towards the seats. The emergency brake, appropriately coloured, and the 4-wheel drive selection down there. There's the standard starter motor pressure button under there. I don't know if Keith can capture that, but it's there anyway, and obviously the 3 pedals, accelerator, brake and clutch. There's a little bracket under there for the Austrians had put in for some spare globes and so on. Yeah, and I'll just, okay, as again, anyone who knows them, you see we've got the under seat tool compartment, and in there I've got the jack, the various wheel tools, and there's a chain block and tackle under the passenger seat. Whilst we're looking at that, this is the seat belt arrangement that we've got in, and just comes across and clips in there, modern seat belt, and you'll see more of that when we do a bit of driving. Okay, I think that's it. Oh, I was anyway.
And speak up a little bit louder.
Yep. Start a motor first. Okay, we have got power, and I'll show you the windscreen wipers working. And the other thing I didn't have working is the camera. Doesn't look a great image there, but you can see that that's working. And you can hopefully hear the motor in the background purring like a kitten. I shall turn the power off. Okay, we'll have a look in the engine bay now. Standard WC opening device for the bonnet. Up it comes. There's the motor. The motor is a 230 cubic inch Chrysler 6-cylinder flathead. It's not the original one of the vehicle as it was built, but the number on it matches the Austrian data plate, which Keith's going to try and get into focus there. Whilst we're there, that chassis number and body number agree with this data plate, and also with the original build card that I got from Chrysler. As I said, a record radiator. It's a new water pump. In the motor we basically, what did we do? We have new pistons, new rings at 30 thou, new big ends, standard size, new mains, standard size. A professionally reconditioned Carter ET1, and a fuel pump which you can't see because of the heat shield under there. That was rebuilt, as was the oil pump at the bottom. I think that's probably all there is on this side. We'll go round to the other side. Okay, the other side of the motor, with the original configuration, would have had a 12 volt generator, a very big machine sitting down the bottom here. Haven't been able to source one of those at all, and for reliability we've gone for a large alternator there, 75 amp. It's got I was going to say transistorized, but that's dating me, an electronic regulator there. So this regulator here has been disconnected, and that's doing all the work. Rebuilt starter motor there, and everything's stock standard over here. I don't know if you can see it, but we've got a remote reservoir for the brakes, because the brake master cylinder is almost impossible to get to for a refill. New brake lines, new fuel lines throughout, all sorts of pipe tubing and cabling and so on. It's all brand new. There, horn, rebuilt horn there. Yeah, everything we've tried to follow the stock standard WC here, and this is the main connection through to the lights and the back of the vehicle through there. All right, just going to start the motor to show you how that runs. This rail is not an original piece of gear, but I put it up there so that I could attach an annex. So essentially the annex comes from here around this corner, round to the end here, locked in these, and it comes out to about, about there somewhere. So that's that. Alright, we're under the vehicle at the moment, and Keith's just pointing out one of the front axle bearings. Everything has been replaced in terms of seals, bearings and so on, so there's no leaks coming out of it. As you can see from the wheel rims, there's no brake fluid pouring out or anything. There's a whole new brake system in each of the wheels, and all the brake lines have been renewed and so on. The diff there has been stripped, rebuilt, a couple of parts introduced into it, and new bearings and new seals on that, new universal joint there, new front drive shaft right the way through to the transfer case. And you might pick up on the picture, I'm not seeing what Keith's showing, that there's a lot of insulation under the floor of the driver's cab, which we put in sound deadening and for stopping the heat transfer. The gearbox that Keith's just under at the moment, that's been completely rebuilt. There was 2 shafts replaced, all bearings and seals replaced, and gaskets. The flywheel has it's got a new flywheel in it with a ring gear. Yep. What else? The new lining for the emergency brake. All of that's been rebuilt. And moving forward to the, or back rather, to the transfer case. That's been completely rebuilt. Again, another couple of parts that needed replacing were replaced, and new gaskets and so on. New rear drive shaft as well, and the rear axle again rebuilt, new seals, new bearings, and so on. Quite a few cobwebs under here, so a bit of wildlife happening. A complete new exhaust system. Got a heat shield on the exhaust as well. You can see it hasn't done any off-road work since the rebuild was done, the state of it. And you can see quite a number of earthing straps around the place because it's a radio vehicle. Earthing straps everywhere to be able to run the radio. The springs have been reconditioned, and an extra leaf put into the rear spring because the vehicle in service was sagged at the back, and it's just strengthened that. You can see the brake line, flexible brake line, all hoses and lines being replaced. All of the elbow shock absorbers have been reconditioned and returned to service. Yeah, fuel tank was existing but in good condition, so that was just basically cleaned, put back in. Don't know what else to say. Oh, the brake master cylinder here was reconditioned, and the steering linkages were all renewed as well. A new Pitman arm and tie rod ends and so on and so forth. Okay, well that's the guided tour of the vehicle. We're now just going to start it up and take it for a spin and see what Keith can do with the magic of the video on the road. steep driveway, so I'm going to go down in first, which is ultra slow. As with all WCs, it's a pretty wide vehicle, so you need to be careful when you're going between two close objects. So at the moment I've got no foot on the accelerator. This is just the gear that's taking us down. I'm putting my foot on the foot brake at the moment. When we get to the bottom, I'm going to go into second and we're going to crawl up the hill. There's a fairly steep hill that we've got to get out of this place. Very poor gear change there. Here we go. I have to stay in second for quite some time because of the slope. Okay, we're going back home, downhill, and stay in third. The gear take us down. The joys of living in the hills. Okay, we're going back up the driveway in first, which is that very low gear. Okay, one of the things I forgot to mention was that the headlights I've upgraded with halogen headlights again as a safety feature. What I've tried to do is stick with the original vehicle as much as possible, but where necessary improve the safety features in sympathy with the original design of the vehicle.